Hello and welcome to the very first Red Laugh Riot podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Ben.
Sweet. All right, this is the first time that we're ever doing this. So we apologize if there's any fuck ups. Am I allowed to swear? Screw it, I'm allowed to swear. So, I guess we'll sort of start off by briefly introducing who the hell we are. As Red Laugh Riot, we are a up and coming production company based in New Zealand. I'm Matt. That other guy's Ben, as we just said. Ben, do you want to sort of introduce yourself? Sort of talk about yourself for a bit?
Yeah, sure. You haven't even talked about yourself, but yeah, totally. So I'm actually from Christchurch. I came up to Auckland to study film and television at South Seas, which is where Matt is also. And yeah, I don't know what else I can say about myself.
Yeah. So, me now. Um, I'm Matt. Um, like Ben said, we both attend South Seas together, which is a film and television school. Obviously, studying film and television. Um, unlike Ben, I'm from Auckland. Never moved. Always been in Auckland. Yeah, I think that's about it. You guys will sort of find out more about us as this company makes more content.
Hopefully.
Um, hopefully,
Yeah,
um, we make this and then it all crashes and burns in just a giant fire
we'll
mist.
just have one lonely podcast. And people will forever wonder what happened to us.
What the fuck happened to those two guys? Touch
Yeah.
wood though that's not the case. So, do we want to get into well, technically our second order of
Our
business?
first segment,
Yeah, our first
right?
segment, that was the
Yeah.
word.
Our first segment of the show is called Reading the Headlines. This is something I've never heard before in a podcast, so hopefully this can be our uniqueness that puts us on the map. Basically, what we do is I'm going to scroll through the headlines of r/all on Reddit, and we're just going to talk about them. Whatever the headline is, that's all I read. I'm not going to bother reading the article because who does that? I might read some comments maybe. The first headline is Eminem's response to MGK. I have no idea what MGK is. Do you have any idea what this is, Matt?
Yeah, yeah. So I know a little bit about this. It's basically, um, MJK is he's a rapper, like Eminem, and they've basically just started this fucking big beef, like, battle where they keep doing diss tracks to one another. Yeah, so that's
Okay.
basically what's been going on with that. I actually haven't listened to any of the diss tracks. Obviously Eminem's kind of sort of an old school rapper, while MJK is more of a like new school rapper. MJK actually stands for Machine Gun Kelly. Um, yeah. So like, yeah, I don't know, because it's kind of interesting
Right.
because Eminem's kind of constantly considered to be one of the greatest rappers of all time. So like, and sort of everyone knows who Eminem is.
Right.
Like Ben, even you know about Eminem, right?
Yeah. Bomb
Yeah,
spaghetti.
yeah,
That's about all I
exactly,
know. But
exactly.
I've heard the name and I would recognize the voice
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. Well, Machine Gun Kelly is sort of this like more new school guy. Um, So it's sort of like I don't know. To me, it seems. Granted, I haven't heard any of the diss tracks, but I know it started when I think Machine Gun Kelly started it, if I'm not mistaken, by like mentioning Eminem's daughter in a rap,
Mm,
and then that sort of started the whole beef. And as far as I'm aware, it's only really started this year.
right.
But yeah, you've sort of got Eminem, who's this, one of the greatest rappers of all time, against this sort of newcomer trying to prove himself. Or at least that's sort of my read on the situation. I mean, there's a good chance I'm just completely wrong, and anyone who watches this is like, this guy's an idiot. He thinks he knows stuff about rap, but he doesn't. Um,
Right.
but just want to clarify, I know I don't know much about rap, but I will speak like I do because that's the point of this segment.
Right.
So, what else? What
Um,
else? What else have you got there, Ben? What
well,
other?
I was gonna just one before we end this topic. I just wanted to read a comment that I found, which I thought was hilarious. Although I don't know much about the situation. Reddit user 8669974 says dissing Eminem is like killing John Wick's dog. So, even though I know nothing about the situation, I now know that it sounds like this MGK guy got freaking roasted by Eminem.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting. We talked about that for longer than I expected we were going to. um, here's something from today I learned. Today I learned Arizona has a stupid motorist law that fines motorists the cost of the rescue for getting trapped in floods after going around the road barricades. So, so if there's a flood and you go around a barricade, then you get fined the cost of being rescued. Well, I think that's fair enough if you were stupid enough to go around the barricade.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. It's sort of a survival of the fittest law,
Yeah, exactly.
isn't it? Like,
I don't know why this guy called it stupid. The top comment is seems fair to me.
yeah,
So I think that's fair enough.
exactly.
Yeah, not much more to
It's
say
like,
on that. Don't go around the barricades, guys. They're there for a reason.
yeah, they're there for a reason. And if I think also a good idea is, um, if authorities say to evacuate, in a impending emergency, it's probably a good idea to evacuate. Just gonna
Mm,
put that one out there. Would you agree with that, Ben, or nah?
yeah, I would actually. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's
Right.
our next headline, Ben?
Oh, there's another one about Eminem. Look at that. Let's move on. Okay, yeah. In science, Wikipedia generated over $114,000 in revenue from Reddit in 2016 because posts with Wikipedia links get more views and generate more ad revenue, while Wikipedia content generates revenue for Reddit and Stack Overflow. Those sites do not bring any benefit back to Wikipedia. That's interesting.
That is
So,
interesting.
so even though people are linking Wikipedia articles, Wikipedia is not earning revenue. Is that what it's saying?
By the sounds of it, yeah.
Curious. Um,
Huh.
assuming I'm reading that correctly, it's saying it's strange. But one of the commenters brings up that Wikipedia is a non-profit, like in quotation marks, organization. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe
I
that
on
has
the on
something
the
to do with it.
on the topic of Wikipedia, I did get frustrated when, in like the last few years or so, they kept asking for donations, which I know at first was fair enough. I think because they're like, "Hey guys, uh, the site won't run itself, and they're against running ads." They're like, "Would you mind sparing a couple dollars, donate to the cause, so this wealth of knowledge can continue on?" Sorry, I'm just killing an ant. Um, and I think I donated $5 one time. And I was like, yeah, okay,
Oh wow.
I've done a good thing. Hopefully this actually works because it's like if everyone reading this donated $1, we'd be funded for life, you know. Um, so I was like, okay. But then I was like, okay, and then I stopped seeing those donation requests, and then I don't know, maybe 6 months later, I got another email or another pop up on Wikipedia saying, hey, we're running out of money again. And I was just like I don't know. I feel like at that point it was getting to the point where like you kind of need to stop just asking for donation requests and accept that not everyone's gonna want to pay for this, and almost everyone on the internet is pretty okay with seeing a small amount of ads. I think if it's so important to you that people have this knowledge, then you should just let yourself just run ads. And I don't know, because
Right.
I think people don't mind that much if there's a tiny ad on the corner of their screen. You know, like
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where
Yeah.
like you just kind of have to give in and let it happen.
Mm.
That's my thoughts on that.
I wonder though what percentage of people what percentage of people that go on Wikipedia actually donate?
Oh,
'Cause it's
very
got to be
few.
it's got to be ridiculously low. It's got to be like I would say like at the highest like 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Like I wish that statistic was available. Because as
Hmm.
far as I'm aware, it's not.
I mean, yeah. If I go on Wikipedia right now, they're not asking me to donate, so I assume currently they're doing fine, and I don't see any ads. So maybe they have received some more donations. Or there is. I do notice there's a little donate to Wikipedia like option on the sidebar. Hmm.
Don't they do something where it's like a one like I think they do like fundraising, like ask for donations, like appeal sort of thing every every year.
Maybe I'm not sure.
I think they do. I'm not 100% certain. Yeah. I may be. There's a good chance I may be completely wrong.
Huh.
Though, though, shout out to Wikipedia for getting me through high school.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I
Fair
think a
enough.
lot of like if Wikipedia was to, I mean, it's a non-profit organization, so it probably I don't know if it would ever, but if like Wikipedia went away, so many students would just be screwed.
Yeah. Well,
Like
because
so
I
many.
mean, the thing is that the information on Wikipedia is information that is somewhere else on the internet, but it's all just kind of collated into one document. That's what's so
Yeah.
good about it. And it would just mean it
Mm.
wouldn't be that students couldn't find the information. It's just that they would have to do more work to find it, which I guess
Yeah.
would just be it would still be easier than looking up textbooks and things in the library like you used to before the internet. Um,
Yeah, that's that
eh,
that that's a thing that I always want that sometimes think about, not like incredibly often, but like the fact that like our parents and that didn't have the internet when they were in high school, so they had to like for like research projects and that they would like go to the library.
mm,
While like I've done research projects without like leaving the house.
yeah, yeah, it's a different world.
Yeah. I don't know. That's always like such a weird thing to think about sometimes.
Yeah,
That there was this time without the internet. Cause like
yeah.
the internet was like invented like when? Like
It was
late
in the
eighties,
'90s.
early nineties?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
Yeah. So like I've
Oh,
out of the
late
time that
'80s.
I've been on this planet,
Yeah, late '80s, early
late
'90s. Kind
eighties?
of. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like out of the time that I've been alive, the internet has always been a thing.
yeah, yeah. That's a weird thought.
Like how weird is that? Like I know there was people like at like the turn of not this century, last century, I think it was, where like people were like born like before like electricity, and remember like when well, like they're probably all dead now, but like they would remember like a time before electricity.
Hmm.
Like how, I mean,
Yeah.
it may be before the 1900s. I don't know when electricity was invented off the top of my head. Um, but you like legitimately, like how weird is that? You're just like chill it, like
Yeah.
like they're like if there was like advertisements during that time, like imagine seeing like an advertisement like, oh, check out this newfangled thing, we call it electricity. Now you can flip a switch and see in the dark without having to light a candle
Yeah.
and burn your thumb.
I mean, I guess they had newspapers,
Hmm.
so that's
Yeah,
about as
so
close as it got.
maybe they advertised it in the newspapers.
They must have. I mean, I assume newspapers must have still ran ads back then, because how else would they make money? Oh,
Yeah,
actually, then again,
yeah.
I guess you had to pay for newspapers back then, didn't you? Whereas these days, all the news is
Y-
online, so you don't need to pay for your news.
exactly.
But even newspapers that you pick up from the dairy that you pay for, they still got ads in them. So the cost of
Yeah,
the newspaper doesn't cover the whole thing. Maybe back in the day it did. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, also the dollar value was like way lower back then.
Right.
Like, wasn't it like at one stage like $100 was like equivalent to like a lot of money, like 10 to like 100 grand nowadays, or even more.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm sure it was crazy.
Just like just like inflation and stuff, you know?
Inflation kind of confuses me because, like, the idea is that isn't the idea that the more people there are on the earth, the more money there should be. So, but then
Right.
we're making money at a faster rate than people are being born. So, what's like I
Right,
don't get it.
yeah.
Why do we make so much money? Like, what's the point? Because it does nothing but lower the value of the money you already have. It would make sense to increase the amount of money at the same rate as there are people.
As
That way it would hold its value. You know what I mean? Like I don't get why the value has to decrease or why we have to make so much money.
I mean, I know
In some
back
ways,
in the
in some ways, money's
I know
valueless already. You know, because it's just a number.
right.
It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't pertain to an amount. Because back in the day, it used to a dollar amount used to pertain to an amount of gold in a bank, but that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
It stopped doing that, and now it's just a number. It's nothing but a number, and it's just so weird that we
Exactly.
hold
Yeah.
so much value on it in general.
Yeah. And something that is now is just something we like made up because like before there was money, it was a barter system. So you would like someone would have, I don't know, like milk or something, and you would be like, "Yo, can I get like a liter of milk?" Oh, well, they didn't have metric, but you get the point.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
They'd be like, "Oh, oh, I want this liter of milk. I'll give you 3 eggs for it." And then
Yeah.
they'd be like, "Sweet as," and then they'll switch the eggs for the milk,
Yeah, I mean,
and
I guess
that's
currency
how.
does make sense because you can't just not everyone wants to trade all these things, so it does make sense to have a currency. But sometimes it gets to the point where the currency feels more meaningless than it should be. I don't know. It's a hard thing to wrap your head around, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a weird, like a lot of things that society has invented is quite weird in the sense of it. Time is a good example.
Yeah.
Like what is time? Like it's what it's quarter past 11, right now. But like, what does that mean? Because like back in the day, it would just be basic. Like time would just be day night, and would just be based on where's the sun.
Yeah, but I mean that's what time is based on now. It is based on where the sun is, say for daylight saving or whatever. I guess. Back in the day, they
Yeah.
had ancient kind of clocks and things. They like had shadow clocks and all that kind of thing. I think.
Y-
Like
Yeah, yeah.
I guess
Well,
they were
I
less
think they were called.
precise. They would have been less precise.
Yeah. I don't know. Just the whole concept of time is a very weird thing.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like if you really think about it, that it's quite, this arbitrary system that we as humans created, or more so in time zones and like the international dateline and stuff like that.
Oh man, actually, the international date line. That confuses me because it's not a straight line. It moves around.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Because
one's
it sort of goes like diagonal line and then like turns abruptly and then goes like straight down, I think.
yeah.
Yeah. I heard a story once of there was this person who was on like a plane, well not on like a plane, on a plane, and they asked the flight attendant where was I don't think it was the international dateline, but it was um they asked the yeah they asked the flight attendant where's the equator.
Okay.
They were looking for the
Oh.
equator.
Oh, really?
Like I don't think they realized that the equator is, an imaginary line.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um.
I find that a bit. I find that a bit humorous.
Yeah. That reminds
Yeah.
me of one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, which is when I was on a plane. I can't remember where we were going. We were on Singapore Airlines, either going from here to Singapore or to Germany or something along that route. And I looked out the
Right.
window and I saw the sunrise. And it was the most amazing thing because you're up really high in the air and you see the curvature of the earth and you see the sunrise. It feels like you're in space. It was
Yeah.
the coolest thing I
Yeah.
think I've ever seen. But then the flight attendant came over and told me to close the window. And I had to close it because
Oh.
apparently it's distracting for people who are trying to sleep or something like that. And I was so frustrated because I just wanted to keep looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we certainly have spent some time talking about Wikipedia, haven't we?
Yeah. We sort of went off topic there though. We
Oh,
went
there's
through a lot
nothing.
of topics. Just went on
There's,
a little tangent. Should we move on to our next segment,
uh-huh.
which is top five. This is inspired by I mainly got this idea from a film. I got this idea from a film called. I got this idea from a film called High Fidelity, where the main character makes a bunch of top five lists, and
Okay.
I thought we would start with our personal top five films.
Yeah, I guess you're up first.
Am I going first?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. What was my fifth favorite? The thing is, I made this list a while ago, and I can't remember it. um, what was number five? Oh, okay. Number five, Home Alone. All right, Home Alone, number five, and I'll
Oh,
tell you why.
really? Oh, man.
I'll tell you why Home Alone. All right, Home
Uh-huh.
Alone is the greatest Christmas film of all time. It is hilarious. I've watched it like every Christmas ever, right? And I don't personally, my marker of Christmas is not like, the 1st of December, right? Which is the correct one. The correct,
Mm-hmm.
like time to sort of start start with like the Christmas season. I mean, unless you're the department stores, of course, in which
Yeah.
case it's like October, which is ridiculous. Why do department stores put Christmas decorations up so early? I mean, what are you doing? It's that sometimes they put them up before Halloween, and it's like take one, take one, what's it, what, one, we'll take one holiday at a time, people.
Yeah.
It annoys me. Um,
I don't think anyone
Anyway,
disagrees
sorry,
with
I
you
got
there.
distracted. Point is, number five is Home Alone. It doesn't feel like Christmas until Home Alone comes on TV. That's when I go, ah, it feels like Christmas.
You see.
That's my little rant done for that one. Ben,
Nice.
Ben, what's your number five?
My number five is a little Netflix film called The Fundamentals of Caring. It stars Paul Rudd and Selena Gomez, and it is a film that I discovered. I just discovered it on Netflix. I was like, oh, it's Paul Rudd. That looks cool. Thought I'd have a watch, and it was just like a hilarious movie. Firstly, but also a really
Yeah,
touching, moving movie that I wasn't expecting. Um, and it has literally inspired me in terms of the visual storytelling that was in the film. Um, Inspired me a lot, and I even took inspiration from that film in one of my short films that I did for 48 Hours last year. Um, that
oh
film was a
wow.
huge inspiration for me. It's just like it's just one of those films that I could just sit down and watch. What I would call a perfect movie, which doesn't necessarily mean the greatest movie of all time, but it's a movie that I can watch and have no issues with or not get frustrated with any aspect of it or anything. You can just watch it. It stands alone. It doesn't need to be part of anything else. Yeah, it's one of those movies that I just friggin' love. Yeah,
That's
that's my number
lovely,
five.
lovely. You can tell that we're film students, can't you, by the way that we talk about
Yeah,
films. I mean, probably less so with me just being like number five's Home Alone 'cause Christmas.
yeah.
But but definitely with how you talked about that film, Fundamentals of Caring. I personally haven't seen it yet.
Mm,
But I will definitely put it on my list.
yep,
Um,
for
yeah, so
sure.
my number four is more of a serious film than old Home Alone, and that film is, of course, Boyhood.
Oh, yep.
I really like Boyhood. For those who don't know, it's a film directed by Richard Linklater, who's a phenomenal director, um, who also directed a trilogy of films, the Before trilogy, which, in my opinion, has some of the strongest dialogue ever written. Personally, for me, when it comes to films, I really like good dialogue. I'm obsessed with good dialogue, and
Mm,
that sort of inspires me in my writing. Trying to write dialogue that is entertaining, that is entertaining, and that is as realistic as possible. Um, yeah, so Boyhood stars Ethan Hawke and Patricia. How do you pronounce her name again? Patricia Arquette. That's it.
I wouldn't, I wouldn't know
Um,
their names.
yeah. It's. I mean, personally, the cool thing about Boyhood is it's got the whole. It's got the whole thing of it was shot over a period of 12 years. It took 12 years to make. So you literally watch these actors grow before your very eyes, which I thought was really cool. And then even though in regards to a plot, it sort of has like the plot is basically this kid growing up. You know, like it doesn't have this like full on plot to it, but it's
Yeah,
just a nice indie film that is just really well made, and is just a testament to filmmaking and doing things differently when it comes to filmmaking. I mean, they could have made that film and casted different actors, as the actors grew up. But I
yeah,
think it would have.
yeah,
I think if they did so, it would have lost its soul.
yeah,
Um.
absolutely.
So yeah,
And
I personally love the film.
I do too. I love everything about that film. I love the challenge that they took upon themselves and the way it was written so that they could adapt the storyline based on things that came into
Yeah.
fruition. So, example, smartphones and the internet, or I guess they had the internet already, but the iPhone and Facebook, that kind of thing. How they brought that into
Yeah.
the storyline, they made that part of it, adapted it. It
Yeah, for sure.
was all obviously really well done. Cause you can't do that when you just write a film and you use different actors to show the years, because you wouldn't have thought about that kind of thing as much. It's almost like reactive
Yeah.
writing. They're reacting to the world as the characters are,
Yeah, for
um,
sure, for sure.
which is beautiful. Yeah, and in terms of the aesthetic of the time period moving forward, it just feels completely natural. Whereas in any other film where you go through different time periods, it always feels unnatural because you know it's changing. You can feel the changes very obviously, because people make,
Right, yeah.
in terms of not only just the casting, which is obviously the most obvious thing, but also even in the art direction, it's always really obvious that they tried to date it. They put all these specific things that date it, but in Boyhood, this is what was there at the time that they filmed it, and so it feels
Yeah,
natural.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
If I had a top 10 list, it'd probably be on my top 10 for
Oh,
sure. I
wow.
think
Okay.
I
Cool.
have a I only have a top
Cool.
five though. It's too many. I can't keep it
You,
too many numbers.
yeah, yeah. I mean, top five is a very restrictive list
Yeah,
form.
but for me, it's easy to remember what my top five are. Top 10 is hard. It's just a. It's also harder to decide. I think when you've got more. I don't know. That's just me. But
Right, yeah. So,
um,
Ben, what's
number
your
four.
fourth film we're up to? Fourth, I
Yeah, we're
think.
up to four. Yeah, we're up to four. Number four
Yeah.
for me is Sing Street.
Sing
Actually,
Street.
to be honest, I feel like this is third equal for. I put it at number four because it's probably just shy of my number three, but it's so close to my number three
Right,
in terms of how I would
right.
rank it. Um,
Hmm.
it's yeah. Have you seen the film?
Have I seen it? I haven't. I've yet to seen it. I've
Okay.
been meaning to see it,
Yeah.
for a while actually, but just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah. So Sing Street is
Um,
just a really beautiful indie film out of Ireland about these kids that form a band. And it's really well done, and the music's really, really great. It was absolutely snubbed at the Oscars. Not that that's really a surprise. Um, Freaking, what's his name? Justin Timberlake he won the best song or whatever for his that Trolls movie, but Sing Street didn't
yeah,
even get a nomination. Um,
yeah.
Again, that's a whole topic. That's a whole nother can of worms about the Oscars that we could debate about forever.
Oh, we could
How they
different. We
completely
could
rigged.
definitely. We could
It's all about the
definitely.
money. It's
We could
really,
probably. We could probably do an entire podcast about the Oscars.
I
I
mean,
reckon.
plenty of other podcasters have done that, but that's not something we shouldn't,
Yeah,
that's something we could totally do. But I won't get too deep into that.
totally.
Basically,
Sure.
the film, I just really
Yeah.
love the film. There's not much else to say. It's just one of those films that, again, surprised me with just how incredible it could be with, a a film that came out of nowhere and, had nothing going for it. It's just a film made by some people who wanted to make a film. It's not made. There's no corporate decision behind it. There's no, we wanted to make lots of money or any of that kind of thing. It's just some guys made a film because they were really
Yeah.
passionate about it, and it was really great.
Nice. Lovely. Um, oh, gotta love the Irish. My,
Mm.
my fellow. Hang on. If you have ancestors in, like, if you're part Irish, can you say that the Irish are your countrymen or nah? You got to be like born there to say your countrymen.
Yeah, probably could have born there.
Got to be born there, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I don't care. My countrymen, the
I'm
Irish.
like, I think I'm like a quarter or an eighth Irish or something. I wouldn't count that.
Hey, nice, nice. Yeah. Oh, gotta love the Irish. Those guys know how to drink. Um, um, yeah. So, all right, we're up to number three in the list. Ah, okay. It's very tight between two films, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Fight Club.
hmm
Love Fight Club. Fantastic film. Um, even even knowing about the twist, um, still fantastic. Cleverly shot. Cleverly written. Stars Brad Pitt and Edward Norton. Directed by David Fincher. Is it directed by David Fincher? I'm pretty sure it is. Let me double check. Yes, David Fincher, directed by David Fincher. Um, yeah, so well directed, well shot, well edited, clever use of like different effects and that. Um, yeah, um, yeah, just overall a really well made film. With a very interesting story. Um, yeah, that's really all I have to say about Fight Club. But bloody love Fight Club. Breaking the first two rules of Fight Club by talking about Fight Club. But that's okay. Yeah, so
Yeah, I
that's
haven't
that.
actually seen the film. It's another one that's on my list that I'll probably never get around to watching. I'm sure I will one
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah.
Hopefully, when I have time on my hands. But there are lots of films that I know I want to watch, but nothing's gonna make me
Just
watch
haven't.
those movies.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, for sure. All right, Ben.
yeah.
What's your number three pick?
Number three for me is Baby Driver. Um,
Oh, love
just
Baby Driver.
from top to bottom, fantastic, enjoyable, just a whole lot of fun. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Directed
it
by, of course, Edgar Wright.
yeah,
And starring Ansel Elgort.
Edgort, I
I'm
think. Elgort, it could be
Edgort.
Elgort. I could be wrong. It could be Elgort.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've both mispronounced his name. I don't think either of us got that right. Um,
Uh,
yeah, no.
let me have a quick check.
We'll
Yeah,
quickly
I don't know what
quickly
else to say
check
about
on
this
spot.
movie other than how much I just love it. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. It is Elgort.
Yeah,
Elgort.
yeah.
Don't question me, Matt.
Wait?
Uh,
What did I say?
you said Elgort. Wait, no, I can't remember what you said. Someone's gonna have to
I
go back
swear
and
I
tell
said
us what we said.
Algort and you said like Edgort or something.
It, no, it was the other way around.
No?
No, I can't remember. Okay, so you were,
Oh,
gosh, you're
alright.
gonna have
Don't
to
worry about it.
fact check us on that. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, like I've only seen one other of Edgar Wright's films, which was Hot Fuzz. I do plan on seeing the other films in the Cornetto trilogy. Oh no, sorry, I've seen Scott Pilgrim. Uh, yeah,
Oh,
a
okay.
lot of, but yeah, just I just love Baby Driver. There's no other words to describe how much I just love it. Really, yeah, it's really good. And
Yeah,
if you couldn't already tell from my number three and four, I'm a big fan of music as well. And the way they use
yeah.
music in those films, obviously, is it's really well done.
It's
In fact, the sound design and the choreography of movements and things happening on screen that are in time with the music is so beautiful.
mm.
Like, oh,
And then
it's really incredible.
add how Edgar Wright and his editor um
Mm.
like edited the like edited it to the music as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Like was really well done. Was really well done. All right, we've now reached number two. My number two, which just beat out Fight Club, is Pulp Fiction. Love
Oh,
Pulp
yes.
Fiction. Directed by Quentin Tarantino, starring the likes of. Oh, my mind is blanking. My mind is blanking. Who's in
Uh,
Who's in Pulp Fiction? Who's in Pulp Fiction? Why is my mind blanking? Why is
John
my mind
Travolta,
blanking?
John
John
Travolta, Samuel L.
Travolta,
Jackson,
Jackson,
the guy from Die
Uma
Hard,
Uma
Bruce
Thurman's in
Willis.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uma Thurman. Wait, what? I don't know how to say that name.
Yeah. Um. Just
Bruce Willis.
a really well made film.
Oh, freaking.
Well written.
What's
Um.
his name?
Interesting. Interesting. Interesting interestingly put together, both editing and writing. Um. Well acted. Just some really good moments. Just a real overall a very much a rewatchable film. I'd
Yeah,
say. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else to really say about it. Um.
yeah.
Yeah.
What was interesting is
That's
when you
really
were
it.
talking earlier about how much you love well written dialogue. I immediately thought about Pulp Fiction because I only watched this earlier this year, and I saw it in a
Oh
theater.
wow.
Event was playing it at the theaters, and we went and watched it, and I was just amazed at how well written the dialogue was, and I just like was
Yeah.
how is this even possible to write so smartly written and excellent. It's just
I'm.
really
Yeah.
it's one of those films, and all of Tarantino's films I think have great dialogue, especially this one. It really stood out to me how good it was.
For sure.
Um,
Because they talk about they talk about burgers. They talk about um you know pulp just general pop culture. They talk about um like France and like and sort of like religion and like God and like intervention and stuff. And all those things, they're they're not really talking about like burgers. They're talking, they're bonding, they're threatening, they're
yeah,
you know if that makes any sense whatsoever. um
yeah,
of me just mumbling about about yeah, just really just ridiculously well written, and just overall a fantastic film. um yeah, that's all I really have to say about Pulp
yeah.
Fiction.
Well,
um
that is a funny thing that your number two is Pulp Fiction. My number two is Reservoir Dogs.
oh wow, yeah,
The
awesome.
first time I ever saw this film, which again was only last year or the year before, uh,
Yeah,
it just gripped me how, you know, how thrilling a movie could be with such a small premise and a small uh, environment that it's based in, And I absolutely love Tim Roth He's one of my favorite actors, and his performance just encapsulated me. Like there's one particular shot where he is it when he's opening a car door. He's opening the car door and he falls to the ground. And that lady in the car. Actually, I won't. I guess I shouldn't say what happens. But there's in that moment, you see in his face what's going on through his head, and the visual emotion that you feel. I just felt was just so like wow, just felt it.
Yeah,
It was
for sure.
it was like one of the first times I kind of like felt the visual storytelling, the visual emotion on screen. Yeah, really wonderful.
Yeah,
Really.
in regards to acting, for sure. I mean, I think one of the interesting things about it, for me personally, is the fact that it's like with most crime films, it's about the crime itself.
Mm,
It's about the prep. It's about the crime itself. Your Ocean's 11 of the world. Even your baby driver.
yeah,
Even your baby drivers. And that's not saying that those films are necessarily are bad. Obviously, they're not. Um we both have them on our. Well, we don't both have, but like we've both mentioned those films as being like as being well made. Um, but
yeah,
with Reservoir Dogs, it's about the aftermath of the crime,
yeah,
and that's something that's not really, that's not something that's really explored um
yeah.
that much.
I also
So I
absolutely
think
love Steve
that's I think
Steve
that's really
Buscemi.
cool.
I've loved him for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure, for
yeah.
sure.
Before we get to our number ones, are there any honourable mentions you want to shout out to?
Oh, I have so many honorable mentions. It's ridiculous. And there's probably so many films that I'm going to forget. That I
Yeah.
love. Ones that come to mind off the top of my head. Are Shawshank Redemption. Um, love Shawshank Redemption. Fantastic film. Um, what else? What else? My mind's blanking. My mind's blanking. The Breakfast Club is another. Um, what else? Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The Dark
Mm-hmm.
Knight.
Mm-hmm.
The Incredibles
Yeah.
comes to mind. Um, the Dark Knight and the no I won't say that that could be a very good another list or another talking point on another podcast. So I won't mention that. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm sure I'm forgetting tons of films, but that those
Ha-
films come to mind as being honorable mentions.
Have you heard of Letterboxd, the app?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
have.
Do you use it?
No, no, I haven't, but I've been meaning to.
Yeah, it's really helpful tool just to keep track of the movies that you love, so you won't forget all these
Yeah.
things. But for those who don't know, it's an app where you rate movies, give them a 5-star rating. You can review them if you want, and it just helps you keep a track, so you don't have to mentally remember every film that you love. And rate movies, and it's really helpful tool. Better than rating them on IMDb or keeping lists on there or anything. IMDb is just garbage user experience. It's basically Wikipedia but with movies. It's just I don't know. It's just not. Actually, it's worse. Almost. It's like one of those
Yeah.
tools that's just helpful for the information, the raw information. But anything more than that
I
wouldn't
mean,
do
I
it.
use I use I use IMDb rather more for if I'm like thinking about
Just
like
looking
an
up
act looking up
effects,
stuff,
right? Look
usually
at what
like
who was in
yeah,
that movie or
usually
what
you
have they been in.
yeah,
Yeah,
who was in it, who directed it, stuff like that.
yeah.
Um
My honorable
yeah.
mentions, I'm going to say not just all my favourite movies, because of course The Dark Knight and Infinity War are on there as some of my favourite movies. But I'm going to mention the ones that I would
Hmm.
call perfect movies, and those are the movies that you can just watch and love no matter what. Um, and of course, I mentioned before that Fundamentals of Caring was one of those. Also, shout out to Tash, Die Hard. I love that movie. I haven't even seen any of the other Die Hard movies because I love the first Die Hard so much. I kind of want that experience to be pure. You know what I mean? I might
Right.
watch those movies later on.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, thanks Tash for letting. He's linked the letterbox.com in the live chat for all you live listeners. Um, yeah, just so much fun. Just so much fun in a movie. Another one is Groundhog Day. Love that movie. Watch that movie all day long. If I was gonna pick a question I asked Reddit recently was if you were gonna pick a movie to watch all day forever, you know, what would it be? And of course, it would be Groundhog Day. Um,
Ah,
Ironically,
yeah.
a couple others: Truman Show, Swiss Army Man, Prisoners, Ex Machina. Love those movies. I'll probably end it there.
Yeah.
Those are just some brilliant movies that are just so much fun. That didn't make my list, but they would all be in the top 10 at least, or something around there. Boyhood's
Yeah.
another one for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Um. All right.
All right.
Now
Ready for number one.
for the top one, number one. Um. My number one is, and I don't think Ben, I don't think you're going to be surprised about this, nor would Tash. Um, I've ranted about this film enough. Um, is The Social Network.
Oh wow, I haven't heard you rant about this.
You haven't heard me rant about it? I feel like Tash
No.
has heard me rant about it.
Mm.
Tash and Emon, I think, have heard me rant about it. Um,
Okay.
yeah. The Social Network, fantastic film, brilliantly written by Aaron Sorkin, one of my favorite writers. Directed by David Fincher, starring the likes of Jesse Eisenberg. Um, Jesse Eisenberg stars in it? I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes,
It
it
is,
is.
right?
It is
I'm not
definitely.
losing my mind. Beautiful. Yeah, obviously, the story of Facebook, how Facebook got created, obviously takes some dramatic liberties. Um, but just a really well made film. Extremely well written. The dialogue is fantastic. What I personally the opening scene is brilliant. Is just brilliant. Very simple. Two people sat at a table, right, talking,
I kind of
which
can remember how it started.
which we kind of think of as which we can't, like in regards to like being cinematic, like not very cinematic, but just really well done, like simply shot, but it allows the dialogue to shine. Um, there's a really well done video essay on it, um, which I think which one was it? Who did it? I'm just searching it up now. Um, uh, video. From lessons from the screenplay.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, which talks about that opening scene and is 100 times more articulate than I could ever be. Um,
Right.
probably because he scripted it. I'm assuming he scripted it, while I'm just
Yeah.
ranting erratically about my love for it. But no, Sorkin. What I like about Sorkin is Sorkin writes in what he calls verbal hiccups, right, into his dialogue. So what I mean by that is nature of sort of like as you're talking to sort of stumble over your words a little bit, you know? Um, which
Yeah.
I personally think creates a um, it creates a sense of realism. And it's just incredibly good dialogue, incredibly clever written. Like, and again in that opening scene, um, we very quickly establish the characters. We very quickly, like, it's really cleverly written. There's moments of it where one of the characters will mention something, and then will sort of allude to it a couple lines down in that scene. If that makes any sense whatsoever, go watch that video essay. If I'm not making any sense. Of course, after this is finished, um, go watch it. Um,
Yeah.
100 times more articulate than I could ever be, but just a really well made film and incredibly well written by, I would argue, um, one of the greatest screenwriters of all time.
Yeah. What else has he written?
Um, what else has Sorkin done? He also did A Few Good Men, which was based off of a stage play.
Okay.
Um, he did The West Wing, which obviously a TV series, um, and The Newsroom as well, which is another TV series. Um, he's done a couple. He's done a couple of other stuff. Moneyball, um, Molly's Game, Steve Jobs. Um, I think the Steve Jobs one is the Fassbender one. Let me
Yeah.
double check.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Fassbender one. Yeah. Um, yeah. Um, Ben, do you wanna announce your number one?
Number one. This is something that every time I tell people, they're like, "What? Wouldn't have expected that." And I wouldn't have expected it until I saw the movie. It's a movie called Your Name. It's an anime. Came out in 2016. And
Oh,
have you seen it?
no, no.
Okay.
I've yet to see it. I've been meaning to see it for a very,
Right.
very long time. But haven't got around to it. But I've heard incredible things.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. Um, I think it's really the first anime I really watched. I mean, apart from Americanized anime like Yu-Gi-Oh and Avatar and things. I saw Howl's Moving Castle when I was like 7, so I don't remember most of it. But I don't love it because it's a beautiful anime, which it is. It is super beautiful. I just I can't explain it. I just felt
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
inside of it, and I felt the emotion in it so much, and it moved me, and it really um, made me feel that emotion, which I really don't feel that often, in films. And it inspired me to watch a few more anime, which I have done, and I have enjoyed them, but I've never enjoyed another anime as much as I did with this film. And it was really weird because I showed it to my brother and his wife at one point, and they're musicians, and they hated the film. And
Yeah.
the primary reason was, well, they thought the storyline was a little cheesy, and they also hated the music because there is some really cheesy like Japanese pop music in it, which I didn't
Right.
realize how cheesy it was until the second time I watched it when I watched it with them. But I that's something that I totally look past when I see the movie because I'm so encapsulated and involved in the story, and it felt so weird to see that they hated the movie when it was something that touched me so much. It was so odd, and I felt physically like I didn't know what to think when they told me that. It was so weird. I felt kind of like broken. I was like, is something wrong with me? This surely not. But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it was.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. I feel like that there's an interesting that's an interesting part of of it when it comes to like recommending a film to someone. I think there's a little bit of it's quite a personal action to take because it's like here's this thing I liked, you know? I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe that's just me, but I think there's something like personal about that being like this is a thing that I liked. Maybe you'll like it, you know?
I mean, what? Yeah, but it wasn't even that. Like, it's not even. I think this is really good. I really like this. It's literally my favorite movie because of how
Yeah,
emotional, how it affects me emotionally, and it just felt
right.
so strange that they didn't experience that. But everyone else, when I first saw the movie, we all experienced it. We all loved it, and felt that as well. So, and I saw it with a bunch of white guys, so it's not just like a Weibo thing, or not that
Yeah,
whites can't be
yeah.
Weebos, but
No,
yeah,
that's yeah.
that's our top five movies.
That's our top
And I
five
think next
films.
week, well, I wouldn't say next week at this point, but next podcast, we're
Yeah.
doing top five TV shows, are we?
Yeah, yeah. We'll do top five TV shows for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
it'll be fun. We have to
yeah.
put
That
my
that
list
which is also a good time. Um,
together.
if you're watching this, feel free to
Chime in.
to chime in, yeah, to let us know. Have you seen the films that we've seen? What did you think of them? Do you have your own top five?
Yeah, absolutely. Tash has just posted in our Discord. Doesn't Transformers have emotion? And to be honest, I am a I'm a big fan. To be honest, it's a little bit of a guilty pleasure of mine of the first three movies, specifically the third movie. Actually, I really love. I think there's emotion in that movie for sure. Definitely in the third one. But for no, not past the third movie is there any emotion. I haven't seen the fifth one, but I've heard it's even worse, which is hard to believe. It sounds like a cross
Yeah.
between Transformers 4 and Pirates of the Caribbean 5, which were two horrendous movies. Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
All
Should
right.
we move on
Move
to our
on.
next segment?
Yeah. So the next segment is something that Matt brought up. It's a list of questions. It's, I assume, meant to tell something about ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. So this
Yeah.
is known as the Lipton questionnaire. So it's from a show called Inside the Actors Studio. Um, so what they do on that show is they get a usually it's an actor, but it has sometimes been musicians, it's sometimes been directors. Unfortunately, no editors have been on it. Sorry, Ben.
Oh.
Um,
All right. All right.
um, no, but it's a fascinating show. They literally talk about everything about the person that's on it. So they start off with like their background, and then they go into like almost every thing that they've ever done, um, like project that they've ever done, and they talk
Right.
about it, and it's really interesting, and it's a fantastic show, um, yeah. But at the end of every episode, James Lipton does reads out a questionnaire, that's 10 questions, and it is personally, I believe it reveals a lot about an individual. Yeah, I think I've ranted about it long enough.
Yeah.
Um,
So I guess the idea is that as an intro to the show, as an intro to us, we'll tell a bit about ourselves, and if we ever have other members join in on the show, then we'll get them to answer the same questions so you can get to know them a little bit.
yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
guess maybe I'll start if you want to ask me, because I don't even know the questions. So you
Should we?
can ask
Yeah.
me
How
question number
about
one. What?
yeah,
Or,
I'll should I just go through all 10, ask you, and then we'll flip it?
no, let's do one at a time, eh? Should we?
Or do one at a time? You answer, then I answer, like we did the top five
Yeah,
list.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. All right, cool.
Yep.
So the first question, um, Ben,
hmm
what is your favorite word?
Damn. That. Wow. How do you have a favorite
Yeah,
word? Um, I guess film is up there. I can't think of many other. I mean, in terms of what film is, it's more than just a word. Obviously, to me, film is a topic and a thing that I love and am passionate about, and what I kind of am trying to do in my life. So, is
yeah,
it just
yeah.
purely the word itself, or can it be the meaning and the what the
I
word
think
represents
the
as
thing with
well?
the questions is that it's
Open
how
to
you
interpretation.
it's up to your interpretation
Yeah,
of
okay.
how you interpret the
I'm gonna
questions.
say that then. I'm gonna say
Um,
film because to
Film,
me it
nice.
was maybe even more specifically story, but and then I'm saying two words. I'll say film, uh, because for a long time it's been what I love. I remember
Yeah,
when we were kids on Friday nights, we'd watch a movie and sit down and eat chips and coke and whatever. And that's what we would do. Or we'd go down to the old DVD store and hire a DVD. And I just love watching movies, and I always have. And
no,
then
that's fair.
it was last year when I did 48 Hours for the second time, and I made a film that was the experience I had in that film was what made me realize that I wanted to pursue that because I just found myself having so much passion for the project and for the art of storytelling, visual storytelling. So yeah, I'm gonna say film is my word. It's my number one. What about you, Matt?
My favorite word is hope.
Oh yeah.
Is hope. Just what it represents. More for how it represent for how what it represents. I think hope is one of the most powerful things that someone can possess, and that once you lose hope, um it's incredibly dangerous if one loses hope. um yeah, that's yeah, I think it's just something that's incredibly important to hold on to and to remember, especially when times get tough. All right, next question. What is your least favorite word?
Ah.
So the opposite.
Um, words that come to mind are words like hate, hunger, pain. I'll say hate. I'm just gonna say hate.
Hate.
Not like I mean I guess it's a word that I use all the time. Oh, I hate Transformers 4 or whatever. And using that word in a more casual sense is less what I'm talking about.
Right,
It's less about using
right.
the word and more about people who genuinely hate other people. It's something I can't even comprehend in my brain. How
Yeah,
can it's how can someone hate another human being? Um,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
that is such a difficult thing, and it's just something that I wish we didn't have to deal with. Obviously, it's impossible to
Right,
not
yeah.
to avoid it, isn't it? Um,
Hmm.
you know,
Very true.
I'm very interested and passionate about the human experience and people living their own, being able to live their lives and not be interrupted by people who just have hate that comes out of nowhere. Terrorism and
Right.
all that kind of thing. Even online interaction when you're talking with someone on the internet. And I get into arguments and
Yeah.
things like this all the time. But it's like when people just start like I don't know, like it's hard to describe, but like if you're not being treated like a human being, that's when it's like that feels like hate, or maybe not just hate, but a lack of any emotion or empathy.
Yeah.
You know, the person that you're talking to
Yeah.
is another human being.
Yeah.
And not recognizing that is something that I think a lot of people don't do. Yeah. and that frustrates me.
Yeah. So for me, interesting that you mentioned hate and what you talked about, because um, my word or words is sort of on the same vein as that. In fact, words that I refuse to actually say, well, as much as possible. The N word and the
Hmm.
word and a word that starts with F that rhymes with maggot,
Right. Yep.
because those words have been used to those words have been used, are used to hurt, and you know what they stand for. They're both slurs, and the words that people that I personally believe that people should never say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Fully.
All right. Next question. What turns you on, creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Watching beautiful movies, you know. Um, I watched Room the other day, and like I find
Oh,
it hard to just watch movies. Like I need to prepare myself mentally to watch a movie, and so when I finally have the time and the capacity in my head to sit down and watch a movie, um,
right.
I really enjoy it because I have a whole list of good movies that I want to watch that I haven't seen yet, and I love picking one and finally watching it. And when I
Yeah.
watched that, it
Yeah.
just was so gripping and like emotional and everything. That inspires me a lot. That kind of and it puts me in that headspace of like I wish I could do something like this. You know, I don't
Right.
know how to I don't know how to get there, but it's something that I wish I could do, and yeah, it definitely inspires me.
For me, um, it's passion. Um, and that can be in any form. That can be in, just hearing people talk about whatever they're passionate about. And that can be something that I personally don't I don't like. It can be something I personally don't understand like at all, like cars or something, you know. And someone talking about like cars and stuff, and they're extremely passionate about it. That's dope to me, and I sort of like feed off of their excitement, if they're, even
Yeah.
though I don't understand a word of what they're saying, but I'll still find myself getting getting excited sort of on their behalf as well.
Hmm.
Um, next question is the flip side of that. What turns you off?
In the same sense,
Yeah, in the same sense.
I would. I guess the first thought is the opposite of that, which is bad movies. Bad, but not just bad movies, but because there's nothing wrong with making a bad movie. What there is something wrong with
Right.
is putting a lot of money into a movie. For example, Transformers or Batman vs Superman, that kind of thing. Putting so much money and effort into it in every other aspect, you know, in terms of the visual effects and the production design, all the money, the casting, the actors, and all the money that goes into that, and yet they don't put any effort into the writing. And the writing is the number one
Yeah,
thing that will burn a film to death, you know, or
for
make a
sure.
film really great, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so disappointing to see that happening. Like movie
Mm.
after movie comes out, and it's the same thing happening over and over again, and people aren't learning. The studios aren't learning for some reason. I don't, and that just frustrates me. And that's just it makes me
Yeah. Yeah.
disappointed to think that this is the industry I'm trying to be in, and this is the way it works. It's just, why? It's so odd. And on a similar note, in general, corporate kind of greed in general, I guess, like in how they always favor profit. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
profit over people and
For
profit over
sure. For
consumers
sure.
really frustrates me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
For me, it's a combination of two things in my opinion. Ignorance and arrogance. Like, I think
Mm.
ignorance is one of the most dangerous things. Especially so when it's paired with arrogance. Because everyone's ignorant in some topic and in some capacity, but to be able to recognize your own ignorance
Yeah,
is something that is incredibly important. And I think arrogance and ignorance is sort of the major problem with the world and with a lot of things that happen in today's society.
yeah.
Yeah. Next question is what sound or noise do you love?
Um, okay. I haven't heard the sound in a long time since I've been in high school, but you remember lead pencils where you have to feed lead into them, like mechanical pencils or
Yeah.
whatever?
So the sound of it, the sound of
No,
putting that in, or the sound of it
not putting them
snapping?
in, but sorry, no. I just the there's a case where you store your lead, and
Right.
and there's a little like cap on the case,
Yeah.
and when you open that cap, it just makes the most satisfying sound that I can't describe. But you put it right up to your ear, and you would empty out the lead case, all the lead out of the case. It's just an empty lead case, and you take the cap on,
Right.
and it's just
Yeah.
I can't explain it, but it's a really wonderful sound.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. For me, it's probably silence. Which I know is kind of
So,
a technically a cop out. Um, but I think it's one of the most underrated things. Um,
mm,
the I think the strength of a good friendship or a good relationship is, can you sit with that person in just complete silence?
yeah,
You know? Um, yeah, I don't know. That's just yeah. That's sort of my personal belief on
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's one. That's something I
Yeah,
hear a lot of people talking about online
yeah.
about sitting in silence, which is an interesting concept.
Now for the flip side, what sound or noise do you hate?
Um, okay, that's pretty easy. Polystyrene rubbing up against itself. Ugh,
Oh, that's interesting.
shivers, shivers.
Because my sister has the exact same thing. She hates it. She hates it so much. Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that. Yeah. What's it for me? Probably like just like a bunch of like too much noise, too much stimulus is probably mine.
Can
Yeah.
you be more elaborate? What's an
More
example?
elaborate. More so with, I think it's more with like when a bunch of people are talking all at the same time. More
Okay,
so
yeah,
if I'm sitting there trying to do something and there's just a bunch of fucking talking. I
right,
hate that so much. But
yeah,
having said that, like when I do work, I I don't sit in like complete silence. I always
right,
need to like be
yeah,
listening to music as I work, or
yeah,
or just chuck a podcast on in the background. Hey,
yeah. Like
that's what you should do. People listening to this, chuck us on in the background while you're doing your homework or something.
or trying to
Cool,
fall asleep.
thanks.
I find like
Yeah,
I can't. I find it hard to fall asleep in silence a lot of the time. I have to check out an
yeah,
album or a podcast or something to try and get me to
for
fall asleep
sure.
because it's weird.
Mm,
It's really weird.
yeah. All right, next question. What is your favorite curse word?
Um, um,
If you
I don't
had
know.
to pick one.
Have to pick one. I mean, like, what makes one word better than another? I don't know. I
Don't
genuinely
know?
can't. I don't think I can answer
Okay,
that. I mean, they all just they're all
I'll
kind of the
give you
same, really.
I'll give you a scenario. All right, you
I can say my
stub
least favorite. Wait, is
you
the next
s-
question what's your least favorite? Because I have an answer
no.
for that.
What? Okay, what? I'll give you a scenario. All right,
Okay,
you stub your big toe and you yell out.
stub your toe.
Yeah, you stub your big
I
toe.
usually I usually try to avoid saying curse
Yeah.
words. I'll say something like like I'll just make up a word on the spot. I'll just make something else up, like
Oh yeah.
freaking gooseballs or geez
Okay.
Louise, or I do that kind of thing. The
Right.
most
Okay.
common word I would say is shit though, but I wouldn't call it
Right.
my favorite word. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's fair enough. For me, very easy. Um, it's got to be fuck.
Right.
Especially the phrase fuck off, right? Because the term fuck off is in my opinion, is one of the most beautiful phrases in the English language. And the reason why is fuck off means fuck off. Like it doesn't have an English equivalent, you know?
uh,
That's just my that's just my take on it. Awesome. All right. Next question is, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt? So
um,
we'll for the art for clarity's sake, we'll say like if you couldn't do anything related to film,
okay.
what would you do?
What profession would I like to attempt? So something that I already don't want to do. You mean?
Something that you would like to attempt. Like if you couldn't for some reason you couldn't do something related to film, what would you do instead?
Okay. Well, I definitely I do have my own business ideas that I want to that I wish I could do, but I don't know how to run a business or create a business very effectively on a larger
Right.
scale. Anyway, um, that's something I want to do because I have what I think are great
Okay.
ideas. One in
Yeah.
particular that I'm actually really passionate about. That I just don't know how to get myself to that point and to be able to do that. Just
Yeah.
seems like an impossible thing.
Um for me it is probably it's probably being like a political scientist or like a political analyst. Um yeah,
Okay, what is that?
I
What does that entail?
basically studying politics. Um and like how um and how it like how everything like changes. So like political scientists study the origin, development, and operation of political systems. They research political ideas and analyze governments, policies, political trends, and related issues. Um, yeah, I find politics to be incredibly fascinating. Which
Interesting.
I know is kind of weird. Because not a lot of people find politics fascinating.
I think the reason is politics
Yeah,
feels boring, but
right,
if the things you're passionate about, then you will be interested in those things. It's just that
right,
in
yeah,
general, politics just feels like a boring topic. But usually
right,
there's
yeah.
something. There's always got to be something that you are interested in within politics, but it's as a whole that it feels like a boring thing to talk about. Yeah.
All right. Um, yeah. Next question is the flip side. What profession would you not like to do?
Anything related to cleaning toilets? I mean, or working
That's
at
a good answer.
sorority. Uh, that's
Yeah,
this is a fairly easy question to ask to answer. I
yeah,
think.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think that's a good answer. For me, it would probably be like an accountant or
Oh yeah.
something. I would hate that so much. Like, oh, just literally just sitting there like doing like numbers and stuff. Like, I hate the idea of that. Um, hate the idea. Like, I would prefer to clean toilets for a living than be an
Really?
accountant. Yeah,
Okay. Well,
I mean, sh shout out to the accountants out there, but like, I couldn't do it.
yeah. I mean, I personally love uh, financials and spreadsheets specifically. I love using spreadsheets and making spreadsheets. I can't say I'm too familiar with what an accountant actually does. Um,
Right.
I assume it's something to do with numbers and finances and that sort of thing, which I think I'd much rather do than to clean toilets. I like keeping track of things. I'm terribly bad
Yeah.
at disciplining myself and keeping track of my own money, but I do, have my
Right.
own spreadsheet that I am supposed to, you know, keep track of and that sort of thing.
All right.
It's mostly, it's just like, it's kind of a visual thing for me in terms of on a spreadsheet, and also the programming side of it, which I do love because I'm a fan of programming. I just don't do a lot of it, and it's very easy to program in Google Sheets or Excel,
Yeah.
making pretty simple formulas and things. And you can just Google how to make this formula in Google Sheets or whatever, and it's just a lot of fun. I found that a lot of fun. Yeah.
Right. No, that's fair. Um. All right. Final question. And Ben, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Um, welcome, as opposed
Welcome.
to you're in the wrong place, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um, it's like
Nice. Nice.
there's more questions I would have than things I'd like to hear.
That's fair enough. Um, I think mine would be either yeah, something along the lines of like um you were wrong, but come on inside, or um or my more R-rated version to that question. See that big titted whore with coke on her face? Knock yourself out, son.
Okay, yeah, well that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
that would never happen though. Or I don't know, or something along the lines of like, oh, we've got a showing of some film at like 10 o'clock. Um, Kurt Cobain's playing at 12. Then it's Jimi Hendrix at 1.
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah,
I see.
yeah, yeah. That's it.
Is that the end of the questionnaire? Is
Yeah,
it?
yeah. That's it. That's the end of the questionnaire.
All right. Jeez.
I feel like it does. I feel like it reveals a lot about a person.
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah.
I mean, so does top five movies. That's all we're
Yeah,
doing
for
today is
sure.
talking about ourselves.
All right. What's our next thing?
What you doing? Um, it's a really terrible invitation. We couldn't really think of a good name for the segment, and that's what we came up with. What you doing? Which is basically talking
Yeah.
about TV, movies, books you've been reading, watching recently, and what you're looking
Yeah.
forward to reading, watching soon. Um, basically, uh, yeah, it's just a rip of what we're reading, what we're going to read, which the Weekly Planet does, which is one of my favourite podcasts. And we couldn't think of a creative name for it, so that's what we got. I guess I'll start
if
if
yeah,
you want to.
if anyone can think of a better name for it, feel free
Oh yeah,
to leave something
absolutely.
in the chat or in the comments or whatever. Yeah. Uh, Ben, if you want to take it away, what
So
what are
I
you doing?
I just finished like last week. Community. When did I start? I started that months ago. It's quite a long drag. I felt. Um, how many the 6 seasons? Jeez, yeah. Really, only the first 2 seasons I felt were really that interesting. After that, it kind of felt like episodes dropped in quality a lot, and there were just one or two good episodes. And season 6 and 7 were probably the most painful and the most boring throughout. I think. Um, but I was like, oh, I guess I gotta
Yeah.
finish this. So I finally finished it. And yeah, that's what I thought of that series. Um, and
What
then
series was it?
Community.
Oh,
Um,
Community. Yeah.
I assume you've heard of it at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, created by Dan Harmon. Um, yeah. And what am I doing in the future? Well, I just started watching BoJack Horseman season 5 yesterday because that came out last night, I think. And I found that I was kind of confused in some parts because I don't remember season 4 very well. I've watched the first 3 seasons 3 times. Um,
Yeah.
and then I watched season 4 last year when it came out. And then I kind of didn't prepare myself for season 5 because a couple of months ago I rewatched season 1, and after that I was like, oh, I've seen this enough. I don't think I need to watch it again. But actually, I think I do need to
Yeah.
watch season 4 again because I don't remember most of what happened in season 4, and season 5 is very. I don't know. I guess it relies on that a lot. I enjoyed the second episode. Man, it's a gut punch. It is such a well written, emotional piece. That second episode of season 5. Um,
Yeah.
that yeah, I was struck by that. But considering going back and watching season 4 again, but I almost can't be bothered because I just want to watch the new stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll
Right.
finish season 5 and then later on I'll go back and rewatch them all. Who knows? I've also been
Oh, that's fair
rewatching the
enough.
IT Crowd. This is my third watch of the IT Crowd that I'm up to now, and that one is enjoyable as ever. I like I like just having a quick 20-minute episode that I can sit down and watch while I eat my dinner. I don't
Yeah.
tend
No,
to
that's fair.
have the attention. I don't tend to have the attention span to watch longer form content these days. Because I get so busy and I
Okay.
just feel like I just need something quick. I just need to eat dinner and then almost go to bed. Basically, I get so
Right.
tired and stuff all the time. I feel like I don't have the energy to even watch a 40-minute episode. So I haven't watched Luke Cage season 2. I haven't watched Iron Fist season 2, which just came out. I just can't be bothered. I don't love the shows
Yeah.
enough to keep going. Um, Even though I feel obligated to watch them. I was watching, what was it? I forgot what it's called. One of the latest Marvel TV shows, Cloak and Dagger. That's the one. But I got behind on watching it because it was on TVNZ on demand. But I got behind on it that I'd missed a couple episodes and I couldn't watch them anymore, so I just stopped watching it. Um,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I lack the attention span now, which I think is a bit odd. And I can only watch 20-minute episodes of a comedy that I've already seen. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's the whole. There's also a thing of the fact that there's a ridiculous amount of content out there, and it's like I wish I sometimes I wish I didn't have to sleep, right? Because then
Yeah,
I would be able to watch more content.
yeah. Or if
Yeah.
we had a third day off, instead of we, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would help much, or if I'd just be more lazy. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Um. Yeah. Um. My turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. My turn. All right. So what have I watched lately? Um. I have watched. Um. I've watched some really really good stuff, and then I've watched some just absolute. Well, like one film that was like terrible recently. Um. So I saw the film on Netflix, To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Um, really liked it. I really liked it. It's a good film. It's beautifully shot. It has beautiful um beautiful production design. Um, yeah, it's just it's a teen romance. Um, and it it goes about what it is, and it does its job. Um,
Hmm.
it yeah it does its job. And it's just a really nice like feel good film. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. Um,
sounds
what
sounds
else?
interesting.
What I've Yeah, what else have I seen? Um, so the other Netflix film that I saw recently was what's it called?
Was it Sierra Burgess?
Oh yeah, Sarah Buja's whatever, I don't
Is
know
a
how to
loser.
pronounce it. Is a loser. Yeah. Um, such a bad film. Not
Interesting.
not a good film.
Uh,
Just a really like a has like such a problematic story line, like elements of catfishing, just so stupid, like, because so like the school bully gives Sierra's number to a guy, and the guy was trying to get the bully's number, right? So that's how that's set up. And so then Sierra just starts um, catfishing the poor guy, and then eventually the bully helps Sierra catfish this guy for ages, like stringing him along. And then there's a scene where he where the guy closes his eyes, thinking he's about to kiss the girl, but then Sierra takes his place, right? So that's problematic because it's like you're it's a kiss without consent, right?
right.
So that's another problematic aspect to it. And then at the end, it's one of the worst endings I've ever seen because Sierra gets jealous because she saw the bully kiss the guy, so she releases um, stuff on social media, basically ruining the bully. Um, and then the guy ends up forgiving Sierra, and it's like, why? You're a terrible human being. Get away from me. That's what he should have said. And then the writing is just some of the writing was bad. Like some of the dialogue I found to be, to leave something to be desired. Um, yeah, so that's my ranting about Sierra
Burgess.
B
Isn't it?
is a loser.
It's not Burgess. Yeah.
Um, I have no idea. I think it is. Um, and then the final thing that I saw that I actually stayed up till like 5 o'clock in the morning watching um was TV series on Netflix called Everything Sucks, which was
Uh-huh.
really cool. Um, it's about this sophomore girl who's struggling with her sexuality, um, and then she sort of befriends like there's like group of guys who who end up making a film together. It's set in the 90s, so it has like a bunch of like the soundtrack is like all 90s stuff,
Uh-huh.
which is awesome. Unfortunately, Netflix cancelled it, so there's only
Oh,
one
really?
season, um,
Okay.
which sucks. but it's such a good show.
Mm.
Um, so I definitely recommend. I recommend. Yeah, I recommend. Everything sucks, and to all the boys I've loved before, but yeah. So that's what I've seen lately. What I want to see is the second season of American Vandal, which like just came out. Um, American Vandal is a fantastic series. I recommend it to anyone. It's it's basically a satire on the true crime genre. So
Yeah.
it's about these two guys who are like the documentary makers investigating um, a vandalism incident at their school where someone spray painted a bunch of giant dicks on cars. And like the
Yeah, I think I've
humor
heard about
comes,
this.
obviously there's
Yeah.
like there's a bunch of dick jokes, um, but like the humor comes in how serious they take it.
Right.
Yeah, and it's really cleverly made, yeah, so that's what the first season's about. And I recommend it to anyone. It's so good. It's so worth a watch. Um, yeah, and
Right.
I really want to see the second season because it's a completely new like thing that they're investigating.
Right.
But yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah. So
Yeah. I don't
that's
think I
my
said what I was
spiel.
looking forward to. Did I? I mean, I said
Did you?
BoJack Horseman. I said BoJack Horseman, I guess, which I've watched two episodes
Yeah.
of so far. So
Yeah.
of course I'm looking forward to seeing that. And also season 5 of Arrested Development, which I still haven't watched. I'm keen to
Ah,
watch.
okay.
Um, the reason I hadn't watched it yet is because it came out after I'd started binging Community, and I said I'll finish Community, and then I'll go back and rewatch Arrested Development, which I actually only watched earlier this year because I want to see the new
Yeah.
version of season 4. They put out a new version of season 4 where it's in chronological order, which is what I wanted from that season because I found it really confusing how it was done already. So I guess I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch that. Um, what I can say I'm also excited for is a season 2 of Disenchantment. So I don't know if you've
Oh
heard
yeah.
about it, but it just came out recently, which I watched in the past few weeks, I guess. And I really enjoyed it. It's not a fabulously written show. There's a lot of kind of what's it called when things clash, kind of
Juxtaposition.
con forgetting the word uh, when contradictions. That's what there's a few contradictions
Okay.
in the way in terms of the story and things, but I honestly don't care about that very much. I just enjoy it because I just want to, again, like I was saying, I just want to sit down for 20 minutes and watch a comedy, and it was surprisingly funny. Before I watched
Yeah.
Disenchantment, actually, I tried to watch Final Space, which is another so-called adult cartoon, which didn't. It was not funny at all. I watched the first episode, didn't laugh at all. What's the point in this? So I don't watch Disenchantment. I enjoyed that.
Right.
Yeah, so those are and Good Place season 3 I think is coming out soon. Very excited for that. That's one of my favorite shows I think. And Brooklyn
Nice.
9 season
Nice.
5, Brooklyn 99 is still not on
Yeah.
Netflix, so I haven't watched it yet. So I'm
Oh,
definitely
okay.
keen. I'm quite keen to see that when that becomes available for me. And also another show that I want to watch is David Farrier's The Dark Tourist. Um,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
which I haven't. It's it's something I definitely want to watch, but it's another one of those things where I need to find myself the attention span. And before I even watch that, I want
Yeah.
to watch Tickled, which I haven't watched yet.
Yeah.
So many things I
Same.
want to
Same.
watch, so many things I want to watch, aren't there? But it's hard to find myself the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. For
those are
sure.
what I would say. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Mm.
that's the end of that segment, I think. Um,
Yeah, the next segment is the crunchy comments segment, um, in which we read out lovely listeners' comments and answer any questions that they might have. Shout out to KKN Malone who joined in for at least part of the stream. Didn't ask us any questions, but that's all right. So this is where we're going to tell you, if you're listening to this, leave a comment, ask some questions. We'll answer it. Um, yeah, that wraps up that.
yeah.
And I guess
Um,
if you don't have anything else to say,
yeah. I mean, I think that's it. Just
yeah, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Ambit.
I think that's it. I've been I've been Matt.
I've been Ben.
Yeah. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.